already know what time it is, YouTube. It's 6 p.m. and it's Thursday. So you already know it's time for the Tatted Beauty Podcast with your favorite Tatted Beauty, Alasia. And this is a very exciting episode for me. Why? Because we are getting into something really fun. But before we get into that, you already know, like, subscribe, share, comment. Definitely appreciative of all the feedback, all the viewers, doesn't even matter how big, how small. I'm just appreciative of everybody that has been receiving my messages and that have been tuning in and who have been growing. Because, we turn pain into power and we turn trauma into beauty, one fuck up at a time, okay? So, episode 14, we're getting into love languages. Now, a lot of people, again, don't really understand because, again, the show is about growth. And it wouldn't be the Tatted Beauty Show if we didn't incorporate how trauma, coincides with love languages. But we're going to get into the good at first because everything is not all bad, okay? So love language. Love language could be anything that basically tickles your fancy. It could be something so small as to a gesture as opening the door, opening the car door. Some people, it goes to the extreme as their love language is money. Everything is just about money, material things, stuff like that. But it can also cause a wedge and it can cause a little trauma. And love language just doesn't cross over into romantic relationships. It crosses over into, your relationships with your friends as well, because sometimes in those relationships, you have a little love language too, because I've had those friendships where, you buy each other gifts, you just do things that your friend is going to appreciate and they're going to like. Love language, So I have been in situations where, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people have, where their love languages haven't really been met. And that's where the trauma comes in, because we keep people around that are not, really feeding our love languages. And I know for me, my love languages, I could say are food. I love to eat. Like, if there's one thing Lay loves to do, I love a good meal. Soul food, I'm a very picky eater, but when I eat, okay? Yeah, I definitely do. I would say touch, in my romantic relationships, I have to touch you, like some part of you. When I go to sleep, I actually play with my own ear. And if I'm laying next to somebody, like I used to do with my daughter, I would play with her ear. And I do that in romantic relationships too. Like, I just have to be touching you. My leg got to be on you. Something just got to be touching you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that touch. What's another love language I can say I have? Cuddling. I love to cuddle. That's another form of touch. So, there's a lot of forms of love languages. Sometimes we even develop love languages that we didn't even know we had. Why? Because we sit in toxic relationships. We sit in toxic friendships, you know what I mean? Where we're not really appreciated and where we're not really able to fully blossom and know ourselves, And I have been fortunate enough to be in certain friend groups where I was able to blossom, So all of my relationships have not been toxic or, traumatizing to my growth, but I've definitely taken some very, very positive things from those situations. So, when we're in romantic relationships, for instance, you have this partner and you're trying to figure them out, so you really don't know what triggers them, or each other rather. You don't know what they really like, what they don't like. You have the conversation, the honeymoon phase, as they call it in the beginning, where you're getting to know each other and stuff like that. That's cool. But you really don't really know a person as much as you think you know them. And it takes a while, because I've seen, clips online where there are couples that have been married for over 50, 60 years, sometimes longer. And they say, we didn't even really start to understand or get to know each other until we were married 30 years, 25 years, and to hear that, it's just like, wow, to be able to actually have to figure somebody out for that long, that takes a lot of patience, a lot of strength, a lot of sacrifice, you know, because love is sacrifice. And when I saw these clips, I'm just like, how can you, you know, stay with somebody for that long? You know what I mean? Even though I've watched it in my actual life, it's just like, how many times can you like process how to love someone? But that's where love languages come in, because they change over time as well. You know what I mean? And I feel like when that happens, that's where trauma comes in too, because again, you're in a relationship with someone, you're trying to learn them, and sometimes people can't keep up with your change. They can't keep up with the person that you're becoming or that you're growing into, because you're not supposed to go into a relationship, come out of a relationship rather, the same way you came in. So it's just like, in the end, what did you learn from the relationship? What did it add to you? Did it really add anything to you if you come out of it and, you know, you're not really fulfilled? You know, again, I have been in relationships where my love languages were not being fulfilled. Like, of course, yeah, the food. I've been with people that love to eat. You know what I'm saying? No, not all the time. Because I used to be like, oh, when are you going to eat? You get what I'm saying? Like, in certain situations, but even down to my mental health being, that's a love language for me too. I love communication. I love being able to talk my feelings out, and a lot of people that are communicators, you know, if that's their love language, I feel like we get kind of hurt a lot of the times being in those situations where other people's love language is not communication, because now the communicator is constantly having to fight to get communication from this other person that's not really, you know, used to expressing their feelings or being vulnerable, rather, shall we say, to let somebody in like that. And sometimes, yeah, you get a conversation, but I've been in situations where a lot of the times I have been gaslighted to believe that that was, or lied to rather, because I don't want to use fancy words, you know, I have been lied to where it was just like, in the end, I found out it was something totally different, and it's like, why are you fighting against me? And I also feel like a lot of the times we fight against each other's love languages because we don't want to feel vulnerable. We don't want to feel like somebody has complete control over us. But me personally, not that I want to be controlled, but I want to be loved to the point where I don't care about being submissive, you know. And I have yes been in those positions, but they don't last for too long, because like I said, when you're in a relationship and when you're in those romantic settings, everyone changes. Your needs change, you know what I mean? Your mental changes, and again, not everybody can deal with that at all. And when it comes to mental, you know, because I've dealt with that as well, it's just like, if you don't have that person that's going to actually commit to not necessarily helping you, because a lot of the times it feels like we're begging for people to help us, but it's not that. It's just, if we're in this setting, this relationship situation, and you see that I'm basically destroyed, or I'm, you know, dwindling to nothing, why not help me out? Why not try and do things to, or have those conversations, you know what I mean? Because if your partner's love language is conversation, why not have those conversations? Because sometimes all it takes is a conversation. I used to say that in a few of my relationships. You know, I don't need anything sometimes. Sometimes I don't even need a conversation. Again, my love language is touch. Sometimes a hug, you know what I mean, will just calm me down in the moment, because I also deal with anxiety. So having all of those emotions in the moment, you know, I used to tell my partner sometimes, just a simple hug and it'll be all right. A kiss on the forehead sometimes will suffice, because a lot of the times you can't express really how you're feeling in the moment and get it out, you know. So it's just like, let me just sit with that, you know. And sometimes people can't let you sit with it. That's just it just is what it is, you know. Cooking is a person's love language, you know. That was something that I with my mom and dad's relationship, my dad loved home cooked meals. That was his love language. And coming from, you know, a family from down south, stuff like that, different cultures, it's just like they always had home cooked meals. So my dad, when he got married to my mom, that was something that he required. That was a love language of his. So my mom literally cooked every day. Not once we got older, my mom kind of got a little lenient with the home cooked meals, you know, so we kind of ventured off to McDonald's, but that was like a gift for us. That was like, we thought it was just, you know, the best thing in the world. Basically like a reward for us. And my dad really got upset when he came home and food wasn't cooked, you know, or my mom would order out and he'd be like, oh, you didn't feel like cooking. And I would look at my father sometimes like, well, what's the problem? You know what I'm saying? I'm young, so I really didn't care. You know, we getting McDonald's, we getting Burger King, we getting all the stuff that we really don't eat because I didn't like peas and stuff growing up. So getting a home cooked meal all the time wasn't something that I fancied until I got a little older, and really had an appreciation for a home cooked meal and what it meant to really have it. But in a moment, it was just like, Dad, like what? Like calm down. But I had to understand that was one of his love languages. Having a clean home is a love language. You know, being clean, cleanliness. My dad was a germaphobe. You know, he could not stand filth, like nothing. I'm talking about even one thing just being on the floor. So that's another thing that's a love language. And I've seen relationships go down the hill because of that, because people are not clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. You know, that's what they say. So if you're not being clean, how can your partner come home and be happy and be satisfied? Because now, after working the hours that they done worked, now they got to come home and clean up after you, something that you should have done. You know what I mean? You know, we can go as far as money. Some people's love language is money. And even though they say money is the root of all evil, you know, all of us want to acquire it. All of us. So nobody is going to sit out here and be naive, say they don't want money, they don't want to be rich, they don't want to be wealthy, they don't want to have, come on, we all got to cut that out. But we all want some kind of stability. You know, but some people take it overboard. I've actually just ran into a TikTok video, actually, of a girl. I forget what they call them. A dom, I think is what they call them. And literally, men pay for them to dominate them. You know, and this is how they live their life. And this woman is married. These dom men is what she calls them, these white men, you know, they pay for her husband's expenses. She never pays for her own nails, her hair, feet, rent, car note, anything. Like, she has men literally for all of that to pay for everything. And that's her love language. You know what I mean? She just feels like, you know, I'm a black woman, and if someone is going to appreciate me enough and love me enough or value me enough to just pay for my time, and I really don't have to really do anything that a prostitute really does, because that's not even what they're doing. That I actually was very invested. I'm not gonna lie to you, I got very invested in it, and I viewed a couple of her videos, being a stalker, not gonna lie. So I just was really invested, and I'm just like, wow, for people really to love these ways. And she's genuinely happy. Her and her husband, he is genuinely happy with his wife going out, going on dates with these different men, and bringing home the money. And again, that's not something that I'm into, you know, but different strokes for different folks. And that works for them. It just literally works out for some people, you know. And again, I was just like really baffled that even though I knew it was, we all know a lot of things go on in the world. I've heard about, you know, dominatrix. They whips and chains, and yeah, that's a whole nother field. I don't think I want to be beaten on. That's not a love language for me, you know. And speaking of being beaten on, not to say that people like it, because I never want to say that. I never want to say a woman is satisfied with being beaten. You know what I mean? But when you have grown up in a traumatizing situation, seeing your mom being beat, or seeing people that you're around, if you've been adopted, and you've been abused, or you've been sexually abused and physically abused by somebody else, maybe a partner, maybe a family member, something, regardless, you've been traumatized. People really take that and they wound up being with people along the way that basically are like that. And a lot of people question, well, why didn't they leave? Why didn't they get out? And sometimes when your abuser, or when you don't have that around, just like an addiction, it messes you up in a way. So you kind of need it to cope. And that's a very fucked up way to think about things. And I have thought about that too. Because again, I've had friends and I've been in situations that I've been grateful enough to make it out of. But I just was like, why? I used to question it too. Like, why are they staying there? Like, it can't be that amount of love in the world for you to stay in that kind of environment when you see this person is, bringing you down, when you see that they are causing you all of this pain. But I actually lived it. I actually got put in that situation. It was literally one of those moments where I never thought I would be put in that situation because of the person that I am, and the personality that I have, and the morals that I have. But when love takes over, love is really blind sometimes, and it can really knock down every wall that you've ever built, depending on who it is, and I really became that person. I'm not going to say it was all physical, but sometimes it got physical, grabbing on each other, or just like pulling my hair or something like that. But it never got to a point where like fists were actually, being like really exchanged or anything. But it was still very traumatizing. It's just like, why can't I get out? Why can't I really leave? I would express these things to my friends, and I'm telling them, like, this is not the way that I love. This is not the love that I want, but I wanted the relationship. And again, this was the things that I saw growing up. Like, now, my father didn't beat on my mother physically, but the verbal abuse, it was just like, they're just words, and that's what we hear too. Words don't hurt. They just words, let them slide. But I honestly used to say this to my one of my exes, words hurt depending on who they're coming from and how it's delivered, how you're saying it. It really leaves a mark. And I used to literally listen to my dad talk to my mom these ways, but my mom used to kind of like roll it off her shoulders kind of stuff, and I also used to see it outside in the street, women being beat on, but they so strong, and they go right back. So being from the hood in these urban communities, you kind of feel like that's love. So you adjust to it. And it's not, and I came to find out that shit right there is not the way to go at all. Like, love doesn't hurt. Love is not going to scorn you. Love is not going to betray you. Love is not going to do any of that. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I say, not allowing yourself to fulfill your own love languages can be traumatizing, because you're literally taking away from your true self and what you really want from yourself. So then how are you living authentically? How are you living in your truest form if you are dulling yourself down and you are dismissing your love languages to tend to someone else's? Because that was something that I did as well, in a lot of my relationships, shit, friendships too, family, we all do it. I can give an example of that. Say somebody calls you, you get what I'm saying, and you really don't, let's say, party so much, but somebody calls you, maybe an ex or something, and they want to, go out, or your sneak link, or somebody you're talking to, whatever, and you don't necessarily go out, but to tickle their fancy and to get close to them, you are going to sacrifice your own feelings and your own, your own feelings about going out to satisfy this person's love language, because that's what they want to do. They enjoy drinking, they enjoy smoking, they enjoy doing whatever it is to make their night what it is, and you're gonna do that. But in the back of your head, you know what I'm saying, maybe you don't need to go out because maybe your bills are not paid. You know, maybe you don't need to go out because you're not really in a space where you should be going out harboring all of these different energies. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been there too. And it's just like, Alasia, you shouldn't even be here right now. You know what I'm saying? But your friend called you, or, you know, whoever called you, and you do want to enjoy your night. You really do. But it's like, this is not what I want to be doing. You know what I mean? And that's where sacrifice comes in too. We just got into that on the last episode. And if you don't feel like all of these things coincide with each other, then you're really lost. You know, I just read an article about them talking about, because we're going to switch gears, because this is crazy to me, about Jamie Foxx being cloned. Now, I just seen this movie. Somebody just put me onto this movie. They cloned Tyrone. And I literally just got finished. I'm almost finished watching it because I had to come on here. But it really spoke volumes, you know, and I'm a little scared. I'm really a little scared. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm like I said, I'm sorry to go off topic here, but I really just feel like they really trying to kill us, y'all. Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that. And if y'all don't believe that, y'all better get ready. Okay, like they said, grow your own harvest, grow your own food, vegetables, fruits, and stuff like that. Because we gonna need it. Yeah, we really gonna need that. But we gonna switch right back into the show, you know. But yeah, I have developed love languages that I didn't even know, you know, over time. And this was way back. Traveling is a love language for me. And the fact that I have not been traveling the way that I want to, and the way that I used to, is bothering me. It's really bothering me. You know, I would be around people that did not want to go anywhere, you know, hanging on the block. You know what I'm saying? Like my bros, love y'all to death. Love y'all to death. But I used to get so mad, okay, when I used to be outside with them, and I used to be like, yo, bro, what we doing today? They're like, nothing, we just out here getting money. I used to say to them, yo, it's a whole world out here. You know, a whole world. Why do y'all want to sit on the block and do this? You know what I'm saying? And then after a while, you know, they started going out, because I started leaving. I'm not about to do all that. You know what I'm saying? So when I got into relationships, I would want someone who was spontaneous. I'm a very spontaneous person. I like to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and be like, oh, you want to take a ride on the highway and just like ride out with the windows down, you know, smoke a little bit, you know, enjoy each other's company, go to the top of a hill, you know what I mean, and just relax. Like, I'm that kind of spontaneous. Me and my best friends, we used to literally 4 o'clock in the morning, we still chilling. Oh, y'all want to go to Virginia? Pyram. Whoever got the car, we go home, get our funds, we out. You know, and that's really a love language for me. I literally, once I started to go outside, because my dad really did not let us go outside like that unless I had a performance, or unless I had like a softball game or a basketball game. So that was like out the picture for me. So once I got out there and started to really like travel with my choir, going to Carnegie Hall, winning all these awards and stuff like that, Radio City Music Hall, you know, with all these people, it was just like, whoo, it's where I wanted to be. So that was a love language that was developed at a very young age for me. So it was just like, once I got older, and now I that's a love language for me. Like, that's kind of like a requirement. If not, I can do it by myself. I do it by myself all the time. Like, literally, I'll drive to Philly for a Philly cheesesteak. This is something I used to do back then. You know, and now, like I said, that I'm not doing it, I don't have people around that want to do it. People have become so just like, I don't even know the word to use for it, but people have become very boring and very just robotic, and everybody just wants to do, you know, I like routine, but I like to be spontaneous too. So again, that's another form of a love language. You know, people that like to travel a lot. They have literally people out here that literally make money off of just traveling. to different countries, different states, you know what I mean? And it's very fulfilling for them. It makes them happy. Some of them do it by themselves, some of them do it with couples. So, you know, when you're out here trying to really reevaluate yourself and really sit with yourself and really grow, you know, and really go through your traumas, let that be one of them. Let love languages, you know, really settle with you. Like, what really satisfies me, makes me happy? You know, journaling is a love language of mine. And my daughter actually came to me with an idea, and it really touched my heart because my daughter knew about my journaling and she's actually watching me do it, but I've never really I've never really saw her do it in a sense, and she's never really talked to me about journaling, but she really literally came to me the other day, and this is advice for any mom with a daughter that really can't get through, or you know, you talk to them but you feel like they're hiding something a little bit. My daughter actually got me a journal, me and herself, a new journal, and she said, Mom, what I'm gonna do is the things that I don't really feel comfortable talking to you face to face about, I'm not going to hide them from you, but I'll write them in my journal, you know, and I'll let you read them, so that way you have a way to respond to how I'm feeling. And when she said that to me, it was like, wow. At first I was kind of like I looked at her kind of crazy, because I'm like, well, why can't you just verbalize it to me? But when I actually thought about it in that moment, I'm like, wow, I wish I would have thought about that, you know, growing up and having that kind of transparency with my parents, because she's still communicating with me without having to really face me for real. Like, she's facing me, but she's not facing me, and it's still giving me the opportunity to be there for her and help her the ways that I need to. Because we all have a problem with reacting off of impulse. And with children, sometimes, depending on what they tell us, you can't control how you react. Because my daughter's told me things sometimes, and I'm just, you know, reacting off of how I feel in a moment, anxiety building up, and I get a little aggressive, and I find myself apologizing later because I really didn't feel that way. You know, it was just the information that I received in a moment. It just made me feel how I felt. So when she brought this idea to me, it was just like, that's a perfect way for both of us to work on what we need to work on. Her being more vocal, you know, because she is shy and she is kind of standoffish to a lot of things, you know, that I ask her about. But for her to suggest that kind of solution to the problem, that's another love language for us in our relationship. You know, so if I'm talking to any, like I said, girl mom out there that's having a difficult time having that bond or really, really connecting, because teenagers, let me tell you something. Once you get to a teenager, we've all been there, you know, 16, 17, my daughter's 17 now. You get closed off a little bit. A lot of things happen, a lot of things that your parents don't even know about. You know, I'm asking my daughter questions about things that I feel like she's not being truthful to me about completely, but I know sooner or later that she will open up to me. And now that we have this love language that she's suggested that we both agreed to and that we're both committed to, I feel like we're gonna get to that place that we both need to be with each other, you know, mom to daughter, and still be able to have that friendship bond. Because I also feel like we get caught up in trying to be our kids' friends, that a lot of children hide things from their parents because they're like, they're not gonna understand, or they're not gonna, you know, or if they do get the reaction that they don't expect because they feel like you're such a friend to them, it causes a wedge between your relationship. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't ever want my daughter to feel like I'm going against her, you know? And again, like I said, if anybody needs that advice, if you need to do that with your child, buy a journal. Allow your child to write in this journal and just be transparent with you. That's another way of communication. No, we don't always have to communicate by talking to one another. You know, writing it down and allowing you to just read and get inside of my thoughts, you know, and really be able to understand me. I was really proud of my daughter in that moment for even, you know, taking that initiative, Like seriously, that really like warmed my heart in the moment. It really did. But y'all already know what that sound is. It's time for Isn't It Shady? Okay? Put the shades on. Shout out to Burlington on the shades always, you know. But since we're talking about love languages, okay, let me tell you how shady it was, how I like kind of neglected my own love languages for a relationship, okay? Now, mind you, in love, stupid in love, you understand what I'm saying? And I wind up stop going out, stop getting dressed up, like really doing my hair and stuff like that. But the shady part came in when I stopped doing all of those things. Shorty started doing those same things, like going out, but telling me, "Oh well, you don't have no reason to go out and celebrate," or getting her hair done and stuff like that. And I'm out looking crazy out in these streets, but that was never me, you know. Girl, I'm telling you, like it's. Whoo, I really was out. I was really down bad. Really down bad. I did not want to talk to people, and I'm a very social person. And yeah, that was very shady. I felt like to watch me, or for anybody to watch somebody become another version of themselves that they don't even recognize themselves as the person, is very disgusting, and it's traumatizing, because it's like, how do I get back to that person that I was, that spark, you know what I mean? When I've been with this person for so long, they put me down and they made me so insecure, you know? Whew, baby, but that's a whole nother conversation. Whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But yeah, that is something that I dealt with too. So, you know, anybody that's in those relationships that make you feel insecure and your love languages are not being met, I'd say have those conversations. If you are a person that likes to talk about things, likes to talk things out, have those conversations. Because even if it doesn't really work out, or it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, they still heard you. Trust me, they still heard you. I have dealt with the fact that I haven't gotten apologies from people, you know, and I haven't had certain conversations with people. And I'm just here to tell you, for anybody that I'm really resonating with and that I'm really speaking to, it's always going to come back to haunt those people, because everything comes to the light. And that's not necessarily to say that bad things come to the light. People have realizations at some point in their life, and it clicks to people when it clicks to people. So maybe when you said it to them, they didn't really care about it, because it didn't really sit with what was going on in their world. But sooner or later, people have to really sit with themselves and sit in their own shit, you know? And when you actually realize, you know, what you didn't put in from what you did put in and stuff like that, you really be like, wow. You get what I'm saying? Like, damn, I really neglected this. I really neglected that, you know? And it's a vice versa thing, because we have to take accountability for what we do in every situation. And I'm going to say that I haven't met certain love languages of people, you know, of friends either, you know, because I've had friends who, you know, dibble and dabble in what you want to call ratchet shit, you know, and I like a little ratchetness. Don't get it wrong. Do not get it wrong. I love to have fun. I love to laugh. I love to joke. I like to throw jokes, you know, so I don't mind being in them settings, but all that fighting and all that, I don't like being around that. Now, that's something that I do not want to be around. I'm not the person holding the phone, recording the fight. I'm not that type of person. You know what I'm saying? Even back then, I needed to get up out of Dodge. You know what I'm saying? But some people's love languages are that. Why do you think they have dog fights? Why do you think they have extreme boxing? You know, that's people's love languages. They like to see people fight. They like the sport. They like the adrenaline that they get from watching these things. Basketball. So like I said, it doesn't have to be something as extensive as, you know, something negative as a dog fight or, you know, extreme boxing or something like that. But people's love languages vary. And when they're not being met, like I said, they become very, very traumatizing in your life, because now you're being enabled, because you're not being yourself. And if you don't believe me, literally just think about it, okay? For anybody watching this, if you don't believe what I'm saying, just think about it. Have you ever like ever in life for a child, for anybody. Put aside what really fulfills you and makes you happy for somebody else's fulfillment. Just take a minute. Like, seriously. Really think about that, because I'm pretty sure you can think about a whole bunch of things that you've done that way. And some of them have been traumatizing. So what I mean, when I say that, it becomes traumatizing, it's not to say, you need to become that. Because after a while, it was like, well, you're not going to do what I need you to do, so I'm not going to do it for you. But it's like, we can't think those ways, because that's how I wound up sabotaging relationships and ending up single. Because it's like, oh, you don't want to do this, so, and vice versa. You know what I mean? That's where cheating comes into play. I'm not gonna say that I've cheated in every single relationship that I've been in, but I have given away my mental in relationships where it was like a text buddy. You know what I mean? I have had one relationship where I did step out, and because I wasn't fully mentally unconnected from a connection, so I was not fulfilling any of my partner's love languages. You know what I mean? And what she wanted to do, because my brain and my mind was somewhere totally different. And when the shit hit the fan, boy, man, let me tell you, I deserved everything that I got in that situation. Like, everything I got in that situation. And for me not paying attention to those things and wanting to just fulfill my own needs and the things that satisfied me, I had karma hit me real bad. I lost my job. That this was the first time my truck wound up getting repoed. I got it back that time, but my truck wound up getting repoed. I didn't have any type of income for like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. I lost 20 pounds in less than a month. Like, and I really was like, wow. Like, of course, back then I wasn't thinking none of that BS, none of it. It's just like, Alasia, you really could have done things different. So that's all this is, and this is what the Tatted Beauty platform is all about, and that's what I created it for. Just for a second chance, for people to understand and people to know that you can change. You can get out of whatever you're going through, you know what I mean? And and get to the best version of yourself, you really gotta pick through every single thing. Literally. It may seem aggravating. It may seem like a broken record. It may seem like you're constantly telling yourself the same thing. And you may be constantly telling yourself the same thing. But you literally have to go through all of these things. You really, really do. You may think love languages is not something that you need to pay attention to, but it is, because you can wound up not satisfying yourself because you want to satisfy somebody else. Being in the freaking music industry, we can go there. I've seen people's gifts be stripped from them because they're not being fulfilled the way they thought they would in the music industry. You see a lot of artists who, become ghostwriters because they love the artistry. They love being in it, creating. That's their love language, the music itself. But not necessarily the message that the industry is portraying for the music. You know what I mean? I've seen that in the industry where I think somebody, who was it? I can't get the name. Who was it? I think it was Nicki Minaj, if I'm not mistaken. I think I seen an interview with her. She said, when we were growing up, we listened to artists on the radio. People who literally had a love for the art and for the delivery and what they said. People like Lauryn Hill, and I grew up in the 90s, stuff like that. It's crazy that we grew up in the 1900s, right? Just think about that. I seen a video about that too. It was funny. But when she said these things, we grew up off of Lauryn Hill and, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, ODB, Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie, icons like that. And to go from that to music that is not so satisfying to the soul, for me, because I'm an R&B person. I like feel good music. You know what I mean? I like music that I can vibe out to. Of course, we like I said, we all dibble and dab into rap because my favorite rapper is Lil Wayne. I love Lil Wayne. Shouts out to you. I want to meet you one day. You know, I love you, bro. Love you. His pen game is just stupid. His metaphors, the way that man speaks, his brain is just, it's out of this world. And I love him to death. But, you know, again, going back to that, you know, people's taste in music has become different, you know. So a lot of people are not into the music today because that's not their field. That's a love language. Music is a love language, which is also a love language of mine. You know, again, I don't really listen to a lot of rap, but I can't take a lot of rap. Just like some people can't take a lot of club music. I love club music. Give me a club beat and I'm hitting it, you know what I mean? But I'm into all kind of music, you know? So again, that's another love language, and some people can't get jiggy with that. I've literally met people who really don't listen to music like that. They're video gamers, which is, man, let me tell you something. I will never understand video games nowadays. Now, I used to play when I was little, and that's never been a thing for me, video games, to be honest with you. I used to play like Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff, but I'm talking about like PlayStation, Xbox and stuff. I don't get into stuff like that. But man, when I tell you, it's people who love to play games. It's people making millions, thousands and millions of dollars off of playing online. And this is something that they love. I seen a video of this boy, he cried because his girlfriend, I think it was a prank or something, like she deleted his profile on his game, and she thought that he could get it back. And when that boy realized that his whole thing was deleted, he cried. Like, I'm talking about cried, because he worked so hard. Now, I get it. You work hard to get on these levels and stuff like that, but he really broke up with her. Like, he broke up with her because that was something that fulfilled him, that meant something to him. You get what I'm saying? And most people may think that it's stupid. Most people may think that it's stupid. But I've seen gamers get married to each other and become the greatest couples there are, because that's their love language. That's the love language that they share. So they created something beautiful out of it. And that's what that's what this episode is really about. You know, just find people who mesh well with your love language, you know, and you're not going to find the right people all the time. You're not going to mesh well with everybody. Everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to love you, you know, and no, you're not going to receive what you need to fulfill you in everybody. So I'm not saying go out here and experience everything in everybody. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not at all. But if you are going to go out here and experience people, have that compassion and be patient enough to actually understand somebody's love language. Because I feel like a lot of people go inside of relationships, whether it be a friendship or a romantic relationship, they feel like they're obligated to do certain things because of how they've done it before. Like buying gifts or constantly going out somewhere because they feel like that's what's going to fulfill that person. But sometimes people be inside the house people. They don't even want to go outside. It's like, I just want to be home watching TV and have some popcorn and we be all right, you know? But people have this thought process that they have to overcompensate for everything. You know what I mean? Buying expensive gifts to feel like they have to like reel somebody in. You get what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily for that all the time. You know, sometimes people just need somebody to genuinely be there for them, to have a conversation with them, you know, because you never know what people are going through. And I didn't realize that one of my friends, you know, I'm going to go back to that, you know, so if, I didn't realize one of my friends, you know, one of his love languages was, you know, how can I put it? Manipulation in a way. I would say that. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. You know, you just have those friends sometimes where you know where the conversation is leading. You know, they make certain gestures in the conversation. They make certain hints. they tell you, oh, this person did this, that to me. I asked this person for that and they couldn't help me. And you being the friend that you are, you're going to say, well, I can help you out. You know what I mean? And it's like, after a while, it's like, bro, I started to realize, like, you're using me in a sense. But that's something that fulfilled him. You get what I'm saying? And no, I'm not going to say that that's how he treats everybody, but that's literally sometimes a love language for people, to use people. And no, I'm not saying that my friend used me all the time, but sometimes I did feel used. I did. So, like I said, this is for people who take it to the extreme. People who literally are out here just screwing people over because it fulfills them. Scammers. Scammers. Now, I don't understand that. Get your money how you make your money, because I wish somebody would teach me what would have taught me back then. I ain't with that now. Whatever, but that's a love language. And that ties into being the gluttony, money hungry. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get it regardless of whatever, whoever, however, wherever. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a love language for me. I'm sorry. I can't. It's just certain things I'm not going to be involved with. I'm just not. I'm really not. I'm really, really not. Yeah. It just ain't for me. So if I am resonating with anybody out there, please take your time when you are going in these relationships and you are dealing with these different kind of people, different kind of romantic relationships, partners, even just talking to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you get inside of relationships and don't realize sex sometimes is a person's love language. And that sometimes can coincide with the traumas that they have created for themselves. Some people feel like sex is a way to just explore everything. That's just a way for them to cope with a lot of things. My sister, God rest her soul, that's something that she later on down the line expressed to me that she dealt with, having a sex addiction. She just felt like she wanted it all the time and she needed it all the time. And it didn't matter if she had to cheat on her partner, if she had to, go other places to get it and stuff like that. It got to a point where she told me she used to do it in the car and she had to just like satisfy herself if she didn't get it. You know what I mean? And hearing my sister say all of these things, it hurt me because I didn't know that she was dealing with that, although I knew about, sex addictions and stuff like that. She literally told me that was, a love language for her. And when she didn't have it, it just felt like she needed to get it. You know what I mean? And when she wasn't getting it from her partner the way that she wanted to get it, it was just like she got it somewhere else. So do you see where the enabling and the trauma comes in at that point? Because now my sister is not only enabling herself and she's only not hurting herself, she's hurting her partner in the meantime, because he didn't know what was going on until everything just came to the light, or when she decided to tell him, or if she got caught out there, or if anything just slipped out. And I never wanted to be in that position, in that situation. So I tried my hardest, over the years and now still, to just be mindful. Really be mindful of how I'm treating myself, what I'm taking in for myself, because we all have vices. We all have things that fulfill us, but sometimes they can really be damaging to what we're doing, what we're creating with other people, if we do have spouses, if we do have children, you know what I mean? And I don't feel like as a human race, we really take that stuff into consideration when we are out here doing these things, And I don't mean to get all real in a moment, but that's something that I really, really, really take heed into. I'm really, really strong and keen on mental health at this point. It became really, really important to me when I saw myself slipping into a mental prison. I saw it. I felt it. I actually expressed to people at one point that even positivity would or things that people were talking about that was positive, it would make me feel or get in a negative mode because I didn't want to feel positive, because I was resentful, because I was so angry, because I was miserable in a sense, and this was like before the pandemic, I would say, that I felt these ways, and that, I expressed that. So it's just like, and then my love language being communication, I expressed that to people later on down the line, and it wound up biting me in the ass, because now people use that in a narrative to say, oh, well, they was just being negative because, she told me this and this and that. And it's just like, damn, like, you use that against me? That's messed up. So you see how love languages can be traumatizing sometimes, because who's to say or who's to know that communicating with people would fuck you over in the end? Yeah, depending on what conversations you have with certain people, yada, 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 whatever. But I'm speaking of these safe places, or what we think are supposed to be safe places, and these people that we confide in, these people that we're supposed to be able to talk to and be transparent with, you know what I mean? What happens when we can't express those things to them? What happens? What happens? Some of us, we lose ourselves. And not for nothing, I was around so many people that I wind up losing myself, because I was an anchor, and I was so positive, and I was, you know what I mean, this person for all of these people. And when I needed it, when I needed that love back for me, when I was fulfilling everybody else's love languages and I needed it to be reciprocated back to me, I didn't have that. Or it was like pulling teeth when I did. So if I'm talking to anybody that feels like they're pulling teeth, stop. You're not a dentist, baby. You're definitely not that. We're not Mr. Fix It. You know what I'm saying? We all feel like we can fix everybody around us, but we got to fix ourselves first. We really, really do. I talk about that all the time, because I really want everybody to get to a point where it's like things just roll off. Where you can take accountability without having to be mad at people, or without having to, you know what I mean, have regret in your heart, or have any kind of hatred in your heart toward anybody, because I've been that person. I've really been that person, like, for real. I really have. And for anybody that's dealing with rejection of not fulfill them for yourself. Okay? I take myself out to eat. All right? I buy myself nice things. Even though I did that before, but we all want somebody that can do that for us as well, because sometimes, we deserve it. We work very hard. We out here doing what we need to do as parents as well. We feel like, yeah, I'm owed that, definitely. But sometimes it's more rewarding, it's more fulfilling doing it by yourself. And you're not lonely if you do it by yourself. You're not any of that. Anything, that's true growth. If you can literally sit with yourself and literally give everything to yourself that you feel like you need from outside sources, if you literally can do that for yourself and be good and genuinely be happy, then you've literally grown beyond your own beliefs. And if you don't believe me, talk to somebody that has literally gone through hell and back. Talk to some of these, fiends that are out here. Talk to some of these homeless people that you see at shelters. They don't have to be out on the street. Some of them are in shelters. But they'll tell you some of the things that they have been through. And some of them have been through amazing experiences, but it's just, they took the wrong advice. They took the wrong turn. They got into the wrong crowds, met the wrong partner. You know what I mean? And nobody was fulfilling each other. So basically everybody just started enabling each other, because it's a push and pull. It's really a push and pull when you're literally trying to get people to understand you. Because I feel like that's all what love languages is about too. Getting somebody to fully understand everything about you. Everything that makes you tick, everything that makes you go. And I have become closed off to that now. And that's what I mean when I say that it's traumatizing in a way. Because when we're not being fulfilled, sometimes we're scared to give it to other people. Not necessarily saying we'll never receive it and we're never going to give it, but that's what puts people in a hermit mode sometimes, which put me in a hermit mode. I can speak for myself, where we go into isolation for months and months on end when we're not talking to anybody, when we're not doing the things that we used to do. Because we come to a point where it's like, yo, I'm not making me happy. I'm really not living in my true, authentic self, because I'm basically covering up everything to satisfy these other people, to satisfy these jobs, to satisfy the career. You know what I mean? We all make a lot of sacrifices when it comes to that. And I just want everybody to know, yes, sacrifice is needed for a lot of things, but don't sacrifice what really makes you you in order to do that. Seriously, don't be out here sacrificing what's really you to do all of those things, because like I said, I'm not going to sit up here and say I sacrificed a lot of me, because I'm still me. I'm still the loud, funny, goofy, outgoing, spontaneous person. I'm just much calmer now, and I choose wisely what crowds I want to be around. And it's not necessarily to say that I'm better than anybody, you know what I mean? It's just I really go off of energy. And a lot of people have not been around me for a long time. And when people are not around you for a long time, and when they're just speculating from the outside, they don't know how to receive you. They don't know how to receive you when they see you again. So everybody gets timid. So nobody wants to say anything. They want to wait for you to reach out, or they want to wait for you to make the initiative to break the ice, kind of, sort of, But I'm here to say none of that matters. Just keep doing you. Create the space that you need to create for yourself, and it's going to blossom. Don't worry about the people who are not in your corner. Don't worry about the people who were there at one point and now they misunderstand you. You're going to be misunderstood your whole life. Your whole entire life. You understand me? And don't ever regret going through the process, because I fought that too. It's like, why me? Why do I have to go through this? Why do I have to go through that? Why do I have to go through this? And life is a never-ending cycle of BS. But I'm here to lighten the load for you guys, okay? That's literally what I'm here to do if I can. Again, thank you to everybody who has been tuning in. I'm not trying to do anything except for create a safe space for people to understand that it's okay to not be okay. People have seen me go from here to here to here to all the way down there to back. You know what I mean? And some people still don't know where I am in my life right now, because I choose to love on me. I choose to fulfill everything that I need to fulfill within myself, and everything else will align with me along the way. I'm learning to sit with my own love languages. I'm learning to make my own sacrifices for myself. And every single episode coincides with each other. So, like I reiterate all the time, if I'm speaking to somebody, just hold on. If you are in a relationship where your love languages are not being fulfilled and you feel like you're trapped, like I saw that my mom was kind of trapped, a lot of her love languages weren't being fulfilled, like sewing and stuff. Find a way out. Nobody's saying that you need to leave your relationship. Nobody's saying that you need to give up, because that's what kept me in a lot of my situations too. I watched my mom, my dad, my grandmother, my grandfather never give up in their relationships, no matter how hard it was, no matter how many arguments they had. It just wasn't something that they were willing to do up until the day my grandmother, my grandfather passed away and my dad passed away. They fought, and I fought really hard, and I know there's people out there that are fighting too, and not just fighting for relationships, but fighting for themselves. And if you're fighting for yourself, you're stronger than how you feel. I literally hit people up all the time, and I watch them. Like, I look at stories and I give them encouraging words, because I know how it feels for people to know that you're a strong person and not really reach out because you're a strong person and they feel like you're okay. You know that saying, check on your strong friends because sometimes they get tired too? That's a real thing. That's a real thing. And I've been that person in that situation that have been the strong friend, and I needed those strong friends. And it was like, I got the conversation and I got what I needed in the moment. But after I got off the phone, it was like, I really wasn't fulfilled because that's not what I needed. I needed to sit with myself, not any outside sources, not any outside, interferences, just me. And I literally got back to everything that fulfills me. And my next relationship or my next situationship, I'll know how to be compassionate enough to understand their love language and be able to verbalize what mine are. And we can be able to just deal with each other, friendships. I'm able to, I've been able to realize what I've done wrong, and I pray that one day me and, a couple of these relationships, because some of them I don't want to mend. I honestly don't. I really don't. And I'm standing on that. But some of them I do want to, actually mend because it was stupid. The reason why we fell out was really dumb. It was really stupid. You know what I mean? And I can say that honestly. I can take accountability for the stupidity that I played in the adult that I wasn't in the situation and how immature that I was. But I hope one day that the other party can be able to do the same. But if not, it's okay. Sometimes we're never going to get the apologies that we're looking for, that we feel like we deserve. And we're never going to get them. We're never going to get them. But keep being you. Keep loving on yourself the way that you need to. Keep loving on the people that do want to see you win, the people who are in your life, the people that do love on you unconditionally, the people that love on you for free. Keep showing up for them, but show up for yourself even more. Okay? I keep telling people this and they keep, I get it, community, unity, but sometimes you got to be selfish. And a lot of people don't realize that until they have exhausted all of themselves for people who literally just want to be around them for the benefit. I hope I hit somebody when I said that, because that is a true statement, and I wouldn't be here talking about it if it wasn't. Okay? So if, again, if I'm speaking to anybody, I always say this: don't let your traumas become you. Don't allow yourself to lose who you are for your past because you can't get over certain things, because you're dwelling on what somebody did to you, because you're like, oh, well, this person did that, so I can't be loved anymore. You think them people out there talking about they can't be loved no more? You think them people out there not going to get their bag every day? You think them people not getting up in the morning capitalizing off of everything? You think they not? Because they are. Because I've been there too. Where life is just moving ahead and I'm just here. You know what I mean? Sometimes I still feel that way, but I'm not stopping because I know I have a purpose. I know for a fact that I have purpose, and I'm going to get through to someone. Again, if I inspire one person a day, I know I did my job. So check out my Instagram page if you guys do want to get a real feel of who I am. I am a dancer. I'm a model. I'm a mom. These are all the things. Those are all my love languages. I love the arts. I love performing. I love doing things like that. So again, if you enjoy any of those things as your love language, it doesn't matter your age. It really doesn't. Fulfill all of them. Just told my daughter the other day, I'm going to always be a Toys R Us kid, baby. That's literally what I said to her. I'm always gonna be a Toys R Us kid because I never want to lose my youth. Not to say that I'm not always gonna be maturing, because I'm always gonna grow in other ways. But I'm always gonna keep my youth, always, and that's a love language as well. Being so youthful, and not so serious all the time. Being able to be goofy and being able to just be unperfect. You know what I mean? And just show you. I love that. Like, I love being around people like that. And yeah, don't ever dull yourself down. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Because like I said, we do it in every situation, you know what I mean? And Love on you. Love on you. And make sure when you come out of the hermit mode or whatever you need, you know, that everything that you have sat with and that you have dealt with is being fulfilled for you. Okay? I'm not saying go out here and being mean and be petty and go out here and try to create blockages for other people. You know, no. Keep loving on people. You can love people from a distance as well. We all do that. I've been learning how to do that. Definitely have been learning how to do that. But there's levels to it. Okay? So, again, this has been love languages. And I hope and pray that somebody got a clear vision of what the message was here today. You know, I'm a true believer in growth in every single way. And even if you don't believe that you need to grow in something, I'm telling you, there's always somewhere that somebody needs to grow. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much notoriety you have. Everybody needs to grow in some kind of way. And I'm literally trying to hit that in every single way. And if I can help somebody, I'm definitely going to do that. I definitely am. I love every single one of you. I really, really do, that has been tuning in. I hope you guys, again, got a clear vision of love languages, what it means to have a love language, what it means to fulfill a love language, what it means to neglect a love language. You know what I mean? What it feels to know that yours are being neglected. You know, just the signs. You know what I'm saying? Because not a lot of people are aware. A lot of people are lost in the world. A lot. And I'm appreciative of all the vessels out there that speak to me. I'm appreciative to be able to be a vessel for anybody who's watching here today, you know, and just keep pushing to be the best version of you. Again, we're turning trauma into beauty, pain into power, every single episode at a time. And this has been episode 14, Love Languages, with your favorite Tatted Beauty, Alasia. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe, you know, just win at all costs. Win at all costs to be the best version of yourself, period. No money involved, all right? And you know I always leave you guys with a message. And I say this to everyone who has been going through losses, changes, everything. And I'm going to say it to you guys here now. You're stronger than how you feel. Get up every day and show up for you. Okay? See you guys next time.